Yeah, and I'll do this, and then I'll move over here. And
Yeah. I'm just going to get some sample of white here too.
yeah, there's white here. Do you want to look at this?
I'm just looking on the wall there.
Have a pale green. Machine we had before. Okay.
Rolling.
Now this map is a marbleized and planetized star map that points up the fact that the universe is in motion. We've captured the galactic flow in the star map and the liquid flow in the old bookbinding craft of marbling, floating paint on water and swirling it around, and then added these planets arbitrarily. It's an object of art and star map at the same time. The flow of the galaxy and the flow of the star map together combine to make this. Each one is different, and over here we have some examples of some other marbling. This is a color Xerox of the same map that we just saw on the wall here, and a monster star map with marbles on it, and this separate map here. And every star is precisely plotted, but the marbling is all flowed, but of course everything is at random. That's why the universe is in motion. Nothing is standing still, everything is moving. And my friend Count Fabriano, who may appear soon, the master marbler who has been doing this for many, many years, does it primarily on fabric. And this is a color Xerox of a piece of fabric that has the marbling on it. And we're standing in front of monster marbleized, there's I am, and there's Count Fabriano with a NASA t-shirt. More examples of the marbled art. This is an example of marble on fabric through this medium of the color Xerox. My friend Count Fabriano, who is pictured right over here on one of these color Xeroxes that show the monster marble. He's wearing a NASA t-shirt. Here I am with another marble map. These are what we call the monster marbles. And here's a close-up of the monster marble in a detailed version. Get another example of it close by there. He should be coming very soon, and so you can get a personal meeting of Count Fabriano. Here are books that are marbled in the front and back covers. Different techniques of marbling, combing and spreading it out, and he can give you a better description of that sometime when we get him here soon. And these are all examples of the marbling art, but this is wooden marble. This is the blind man's tactile heavens. The wooden panels with upholstery nails as the stars so that a blind person could run their hand through the Milky Way. I built this for the 400th anniversary of the birth of Kepler out in the woods. Well, anyway, there's that. Now I guess we can go on to something else. Okay, we're here at the Dynamic Graphics Corporation on top of the Great Western Building in downtown Berkeley on this December 8th, 1979. And we're creating here today a map of the universe that's going to be about 137 inches long and about 60 inches high. And I'm standing right next to a map that I made a number of years ago, and the computer drew this map in one piece in an hour and 45 minutes, with every nuance of brightness reflected to hundreds of a decimal, more star names than any other map, all the Greek designations, and every area has precise visual brightness to as much as it's taken by what they call photoelectric photometry. This is like taking a light meter reading through the telescope. And these particular coordinates are from the Yale Observatory's Bright Star Catalog, and I've revised and refined and developed this map in these 9 years since I published this first one. And now we're going to go down the hall in this graphics laboratory and see some later editions. This next map is the world's largest on a single sheet that has the extreme limit of naked eye visibility. This map right back here has 5,700 stars. That's 6.1 visual magnitude, which is the all essentially naked eye stars. Not stars you can see them through the telescope, but you can see a lot more through the telescope. And now we'll come down this long corridor atop the penthouse here and see what I call a giant map, 9 feet by 4.5 feet with 8,602 stars, and every one of them designated, and again, all the nuance of brightness. Now the computer originally drew this map 25 feet by 12.5 feet. This is a 37% reduction of the original. And if we'll keep going down the hall, we'll see a half-size reduction of the original 25-footer. This is Sirius, the brightest star, the belt stars of Orion, Betelgeuse, the shoulders of Orion, Taurus, the bull, the Hyades, or the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters, Castor and Pollux, Gemini, the twins. They're all on there. These little numbers here, I don't know if you can see them or not, they're what they call Yale Bright Star numbers. They're listed in the Yale catalog from number 1, but in order of right ascension, coming this way. So we pick a number here, there's 3,657 stars on this side of that star, and they keep increasing going this way. The Flamsteed numbers are these numbers within a constellation that are numbered the same way going that way, but starting with number 1 out here, and there's 20, 51, 81, 90, 95th star of Leo here. Leo Minor, the 21st star, and so on. Here's the Big Dipper. Can you get up to the Big Dipper? It's the Big Dipper that goes on and points up to the north. This is a cylindrical projection which stretches the northern and southern hemispheres so that if you look at the top at an angle, like you're doing now, you can see them more or less in their true perspective.
I'll just do a walk here.
Just
So let me just walk.
also, if you could slow it down just a bit,
More?
you're still moving pretty quick.
I'm just gonna walk. I'm just gonna walk by to cover your.
On the map down the hall, I'm going to describe how you use the map and how navigators can use it. All right. This is the Southern Cross down here. We can't see that Southern Cross from our location here in Berkeley, California, but when we get down the hall a ways, I'll explain how the stars are seen and how the coordinates are used for navigating and finding your position on the Earth. Come this way now, down the hall, and we'll check out the monster star map. And this has 25 separate sky areas. It's 12.5 feet by 6.5 feet long. And every one of these 25 areas has its number of stars. There's 572 stars here. There's 459 stars here, totaling 8,602, the same as the giant map. And every fifth of a degree so that you can pinpoint your exact plot in the heavens. This line here is the ecliptic, or the path of the Earth projected into the sky. It's also known as the zodiacal path because there's the zodiacal constellations: Aquarius, Capricornus, Sagittarius, Scorpius, Libra here, Virgo, Leo the lion, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus the bull. Here's Aries the ram, and down to Pisces. Here's the summer triangle, Vega, Deneb, and Altair. It's now in the December sky in the west, and on Christmas Eve, of course, in the northwest, you can look up and see the Southern Cross, or the Northern Cross as it's called. It's actually the wings of the Cygnus the swan, the tail of the swan, and the head of the swan. And Vega, one of the brighter stars in the sky, Lyra the lyre, the harp of Apollo, Hercules, Corona Borealis. There's Delphinus the dolphin, Aquila the eagle, with Altair, the next brightest star in the summer triangle, and it's flying this way. Antinous, the little boy riding on the wings of Aquila the eagle. This is an ancient asterism. So on this map I have all the old constellations that have been discarded. The International Astronomical Union that dogmatically set all the constellations threw out a number of them, like Globus Aeriostaticus, the air balloon, Phenocopterus here, the flamingo, the bull of Teske. This is a miniature Taurus, a little V shape for the head of the bull and little horns up here after the Polish king. Cerberus, the three-headed dog, is actually the hand of Hercules, the giant, the kneeling giant. Most stars are named by the Arabs because they needed to know where to turn toward Mecca, and when they overran Carthage, they saved Ptolemy's book. They called it the Almagest, the Greater Syntax. Here we have Arcturus, one of the brighter stars. It means the bear keeper, and this is within the arc of, you follow the arc of the Dipper down to Arcturus. And Boötes, the herdsman, is the constellation which that's a part of, and you just follow the arc down to Spica, which is the chaff of wheat the Virgin is holding in Virgo here, the wings of the Virgin. Here's Leo the lion, the nebula, the tail of the lion, Regulus, the heart of the lion, that star named by Copernicus, and the backwards question mark, or the sickle as it's called, is the head of the lion. This area here is Coma Berenices, Berenices' hair. Tycho Brahe named this constellation. The story goes that Venus promised, or this lady promised Berenices promised Venus that if her husband returned safely from war, that she'd cut her hair for the altar. Well, he did return. She cut her hair, put it on the altar, and it disappeared into the sky. And this is also a field of galaxies called the realm of the galaxies. And another interesting asterism at this point is what we call the diamond of Virgo. Cor Coralie, which is in Canis Venacitae, the hunting dogs, is also, that means the heart of Charles, after King Charles II of England, the martyred king. This Arcturus down to Spica, up to Denebola, and up to Cor Coralie is the diamond of Virgo. And people can find constellations very easily by noting halfway between Denebola and Spica are the wings of the Virgin, also known as the dog kennel. And halfway between Denebola and Cor Coralie is Coma Berenices, the field of galaxies. And this little star out here, Mufrid, the solitary star of the Lancer. Boötes, the herdsman. Now let's keep going down the sky. Here's the head of Hydra, the sea snake that runs all the way back there. Castor and Pollux, Gemini, the twins over here. And it's right into the wonders of the so-called wintertime sky. Everyone talks about seasonal stars, but it's more or less a misnomer, because you can see most all the stars you can see in one night's viewing if you stay up all night and watch the stars from sundown till sunup. When they mean seasonal stars, they're talking about just the first few hours of evening after the sun sets. And the wintertime stars right after sunset are Orion the Hunter here, the belt stars that are pointing down to Sirius, the brightest star, and up to Aldebaran, the eye of Taurus the bull, or the Hyades, the half-sisters of the Pleiades, which are the daughters of Atlas. Here are the horns of the bull, and Capella up here, the goat star. This is Orija the charioteer. Anyway, these are some of the stars that are in the sky, and we'll continue on our journey here into this room where we're going to see marbleized and planetized star maps. This is the marbleized and planetized star map, pointing up the fact the universe is in motion. We've captured the galactic flow in the star map. Everything in the universe is moving. Nothing is standing still. But the whole history of man hasn't been long enough for us to see much change in the sky that the ancients named. So we've captured the galactic flow in the star map, and here the liquid flow in the old bookbinding craft of marbling, floating paint on water and swirling it around. And the two combined, the galactic and the liquid, point up the universal flow. Each one is different, an object of art and star map at the same time. We've arbitrarily added these little planets to give it more artistic effect. My friend, the master marbleizer, Count Fabriano, will come here very soon, and we can get a picture of him and have him describe how he's been working on a book describing all the forms of marbling in nature, which is in the rocks and the flow of the sand and the water and the beach and the turbulence in the air, and the flow of everything in wood, even as marble in the wood. And I have the color Xeroxes here of our various marbling art. This is the one on the wall there, and here's a detail of the monster star map, which is the one we were looking at and describing the different constellations on. Pointing up again, as I say, the universal flow, that everything is moving. And we're in this graphics laboratory that creates all the stars in the star map, and in just a little bit we're going to see a table that can actually transcribe all of this into digitalized numbers and physically draw it on a machine. It can physically draw even the marbling. Should we stop?
Now, just a sec.
Turn it.
Just a sec, I'll signal you.
Okay, this is the same marble that was on the wall, a color Xerox of the marbleized map that we saw, and this is of the monster map, which is a portion of the monster marbleized. And this is part of Count Fabriano's fabric marbleizing. And here's another one of the monster map with the Saturn on it. This original size is 12.5 feet by 6.5 feet, and this is just a portion of it. And you can see a little marbling of wood here. This is the blind man's tactile heavens, which has got 2,500 upholstery nails of varying sizes according to the brightness of the stars, and a blind person could run his hand over the Milky Way. And the sun is on this angle. You see the little shadows that the sun is projected onto the wood. Here's another of the color Xeroxes, which is a blow-up or portion of the monster marbleized star map, pointing up the universal flow. And there's a marbling of a book cover, binding inside cover.
Oh, hold on that for a little bit.
Okay.
Going way too fast for me.
Oh, I know. I'm so.
Okay, go.
That's a marbleized map, and the book's standing on the marbleized map. That's upside down. There's right side up. The summer
There you go.
triangle that I was talking about. There's Vega, Deneb, and Deneb here, Vega here, and Altair there. The southern cross, the northern cross, it's called. And here's Rigel Centaurus and Hadar, the two pointer stars that point to the southern cross right there. But now we've spent some time here. Let's go into the other hallway here, excuse me, and get the a new map that we're making on the computer just in the next room. This, if you come this way, these are small maps, mock-ups and tests of the computer map that's being drawn right now, and in just a few minutes we'll get in there. It has the curved north and south borders so that it's more not stretched as much as the rectangular maps. Now at the end here, this is all the stars with just circles, and this is the brighter stars for the whole map. There's the belt stars of Orion down to Sirius, the Dipper arcing to Arcturus and down to Spica and the Southern Cross, and Rigel and Centaurus and Hadar pointing to the Southern Cross, and the summer triangle here, Vega, Deneb, and Altair. Now, if you come down to the end, or just look down here, here is a full size of the map, with just the brighter stars in Sirius. And here's the belt stars of Orion. There's one belt star over here, and Rigel, and here's Capella, the goat star, and it's about 135 inches long, or 128 inches, the sky sphere. Now, if we back up just a little ways and go into the Holy of Holies, as I call it, the computer room, where we'll actually see the machine drawing the heavens and all of the equipment that can be used to create the sky.
Okay, now, could you do me another favor? I had to switch on high gain, so could you start back here and then talk again now that we've finished that computer? Just come back out and do this again.
Okay. Yeah.
Go.
Okay, this is the full size with just the brighter stars, and now we're going to come into the what I call the Holy of Holies, the computer room where the machine is actually creating the universe. But before we go in, I wonder if you could turn and see this map here. I wanted to make a brief statement of how the stars are seen and how the coordinates are used. These coordinates here are based on the Earth's equator extending into the sky. So whatever your latitude is, that's straight up overhead. Directly over the equator is the celestial equator. Now here in Berkeley, we're about 39 or 40 degrees north, so this line here is straight up overhead where we're standing. And whatever your latitude is, that amount of degrees off the poles is what you always see as north circumpolar, and that same amount off the bottom up is what as your southern horizon. So we never see this 39 degrees. We always see this 39 degrees, and everything in between here rises and sets in an arc across the sky once around the whole map every day. Now wherever the sun is on the zodiacal path, it's approaching now the December solstice, December 22nd, where it's the shortest day. The stars on this half of the map are the early evening stars, and stars on this half of the map are the early morning stars. So as the sun goes this way, you see a few more stars each morning and a few less each evening. Back here in September at the autumnal equinox, this half was the early evening stars, this half was the early morning stars. Now, if you were at the equator, you'd see the whole sky. The poles would be on the horizon, and the whole map would rise straight up overhead and set straight down. And you'd see the whole sky at the equator. Okay, now that I've whetted your appetite, we will now come into the computer room, and okay, come this way, and we're coming into the master control room here in the penthouse. You can see some of the buildings in Berkeley across the way. And the first item we have here, by the way, I'll introduce my computer programmer. This is John Wells, who is the brains behind the machine. And we can look right down at this monitor. This is the digital binary code that actually controls the plotter that draws the stars. And each of these little sections, what is that called? A buffer? It's a buffer. And it feeds it into the computer. It draws the stars and then goes on to the next one, so it's a continuous run. And now you can come and look at the machine itself drawing the stars. It's on the southern hemisphere now, and the machine will take 4 hours to complete this drawing. It started a few hours ago, and we've saved this up until now so that you can see it draws Sirius, the brightest star, and the belt stars of Orion, which are coming up fairly soon now on the machine. And in a while we'll open this up for you so you can see it. Maybe we can actually open it now for a minute. Okay. The little pin there, the two axes, the X